Hi, my name is Phil. I like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the latest development concerning the post-Brexit US trade deal that the government now say is unrealistic to complete this year. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, I'm not even going to go into any great detail about the fact that we were promised we would have a load of trade deals with the major economies of the world ready to go the day after we left the EU. Here we are 6 months after we've left the EU and we still don't have any, and now we've abandoned all hope of getting any by the end of this year even. But anyway, that is not the important thing. The headline news here is that the UK government has abandoned the notion of completing a US trade deal this year and is blaming coronavirus for it. Well, that seems fair enough, you might say. Yeah, absolutely, no problem. However, this is the same UK government that at the same time, in the same week, has also abandoned the notion of completing an EU trade deal this year and is blaming, no, not coronavirus, is blaming the EU for that. But hey, consistency for what passes for thought is not exactly a feature of fascist governments, is it? So, International Trade Secretary Liz Truss, you know, the one who wrote the letter to ministerial colleagues asking where the bloody hell our Brexit plan was and then allegedly leaking it to the media so that everyone else knew we don't have a plan, we ain't got a plan, has had to acknowledge that it won't be possible to conclude anything before November. In other words, the presidential election time. So I have a massive favour to ask of our cousins across the sea. Could you please really consider going out and voting this November to consign the orange one to the dustbin of history, or garbage can of history if you insist. You would be doing us a huge solid. It will probably do you guys some good as well, if we're going to be honest. Now, one of the major sticking points is predictably agricultural products. So the US aren't all that interested in a deal that doesn't mean that anything that they produce may be sold on the UK market. They need it all there. And it's not just agriculture as well. The pharmaceutical industry wants its clause in too. Now, from our government's point of view, they're fine with that. But an awful lot of Conservative MPs live in agricultural constituencies here in dear old Blighty, where the major employers will go tits up with such a deal. And it's not like, you know, they could just drop their standards to compete, because Boris Johnson has promised to maintain the standards of food production in the UK. Now, yeah, I know Boris Johnson promised, I do understand. However, this helps him claim that he'll have stuck by his misleading promise and helps Trump give a competitive edge to US farmers as well. So it's in the interests of both parties. The UK has tried to propose various things, including allowing the products in, but applying higher tariffs if they don't meet our production standards, in order for them to be less competitively priced. Now, the talks are being held in secret, so I can't say for certain what the result of any of these proposals was, because it could easily be rejected by both the US and British agriculture supporting Tory MPs as well. But whatever proposals we came up with clearly haven't done the trick, because it is still being noted as a sticking point. Thank goodness. And this is why it's really important to keep the pressure on Conservative MPs, if you have a Conservative MP in your constituency, to stand firm on supporting the farming industry. Never mind various people's attitudes to those who support, you know, the Conservative government that allowed this situation to occur. The farming industry, in this regard, is our best trump card, if you'll pardon the expression, in crippling the trade deal that will absolutely stuff us. It essentially shows that there is opposition for Boris Johnson just agreeing with whatever Trump demands, because he absolutely would. And that opposition must be coming from within the Conservative Party, because there is no opposition anywhere else. He has such a large majority. So, yet another trade deal that was promised by the end of July 2020 goes begging. Who'd have thought it? Not that this means we're out of the woods. It's a relief. I read this with, you know, no small measure of relief, I have to say. But the government have just adjusted its ambitions to still completing it in January of next year. Now, if that were possible, that would suit Johnson politically, because in the month when the no-deal Brexit starts to bite, he can wave his piece of paper in his hand and say, I have here a piece of paper with the US trade deal written on it. and allay full-scale civil unrest, because no one would expect the trade deal to work wonders overnight. So it might give them a bit of time. I hope it wouldn't, but it might. That being said, the trade deal isn't just a matter of agreeing terms with the orange one. Unlike in this country, the United States insists that their democratically elected legislators also get to decide on whether they want the trade deal or not. So surely this means that even January will be ambitious if there are forces preventing Johnson just capitulating to everything Trump wants. And if the talks are still going on, if we finally get some good news in 2020 and Trump has to vacate the White House in 2021, preferably being dragged out by his fingernails by federal agents, I would pay good money to see that, then Biden may have slightly different priorities. Now, I have said before that I believe the general nature of the deal still won't be safe. We are in a weak position. America are no mugs. Their trade negotiators are very, very decent. The proposal represents a good deal for America and a poor deal for the UK. Even our own government's optimistic appraisal puts the trade deal at a gain of 0.2% to our economy. Now, if the government's own optimistic view of the situation is we will get a net benefit of 0.2% to our economy, that would suggest that the realistic outcome is likely to be negative. So any president of the United States would like to push such a proposal because the gains will be in their favour. But Biden is also concerned with Irish peace in a way that Trump is not. And if we don't look like we're taking Northern Ireland seriously, and frankly we do not, then he may just throw us to the back of the queue for negotiations as Obama said would happen. And he may do that anyway. And it's not like I wouldn't want a trade deal, don't get me wrong. You know, we're out of the EU. We're heading to a situation where we will have almost no trade deals. We've got a few trade agreements. The only decent sized economy is Switzerland, and that's way, way below our other major economic partners. No disrespect to Switzerland. And as other people have pointed out, you know, we may have an agreement with Switzerland, but in order to get our goods between ourselves and Switzerland, it's got to go through territories with whom we have no agreement. So that causes a bit of an issue right there. So of course I would love a US trade deal, but we'll be out of the EU. I would rather we negotiated with the EU in good faith. When it comes to a US trade deal, how can I put this in a way that Brexiteers would understand? Ah, yes, no deal is better than a bad deal. But there it is. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.